Hello there, welcome back to Blue Harvest Vintage Toys, and today I've got an email with a video in it from Brandon, the Apprentice Ewok. Take it away, Brandon.
Hey Mark, it's Brandon, Apprentice Ewok here. I have a couple questions for you when it comes to collecting vintage Star Wars. I've thought about getting into it for a little bit, but I have had no idea where to start, and hopefully this video might help some other fans learn about collecting Star Wars vintage figures. So I'm just going to jump right into it with the questions. So first question is, how did you get your start in collecting vintage, and what are some of your biggest tips for those people who are going to collect?
Well, that's a long story, but 1978, obviously we got the Star Wars pretty late. We knew about it, we got the comics and everything like that, but the figures we didn't get till later on. Now, I didn't collect them at the time. I suppose it was a kind of collection, but it was to play with. Obviously, I was 8 years old, played with my figures. I had Black Hole, I had Battlestar Galactica, all mingled in. My very first figure was Darth Vader. I remember that day totally. I've talked about this all before, so I'm not going to go in on the ins and outs. I have collected the vintage figures. This is the fourth time I've tried to complete the figure run, and probably each time I've collected differently. Now, the first time, obviously, I bought them in the shops. Readily available in most shops, funnily enough. Even shops you wouldn't even think about. Second time, I got them off a market. We have the markets over here, the Saturday markets, but I remember going to Leeds on a Thursday market, which was a second-hand market, so like a flea market type thing. And there was a guy that had a full stall, 2 stalls, just of Star Wars stuff. And this was when it was around about 1990, when coming back into it. I'd never really gone out of it. I'd never really lost my love for Star Wars, but I remember just seeing all the figures that I'd never seen before, because I stopped collecting in '84. I missed out on the. You've got the Power of the Force. We've got the tri-logos, a bit of mixture of each. And I'd never seen the Anakin Skywalker figure before, and I saw this and I thought, wow. So I thought, this is a special figure. I only paid about 20p for it, 20p. So I started collecting them all again. I got the Millennium Falcon for the first time ever, because as a kid I only had the X-Wing and the Skywalker. I got an AT-AT, and I just started playing with them again. But then I started playing American football. I had to buy some kit, which is very expensive, as you know. But I had to sell it all to get my kit. So next, I think, after that I got married. Nothing, yeah, I wasn't allowed, basically, to have anything like that. I collected through my son. He loves Star Wars, and he collected all the Star Wars figures, played with them, opened them all up, played with them. I can't think back that now. It wasn't until I met my second wife I started collecting again. Now, that's when we got the shop. I didn't actually start collecting vintage figures. I started collecting Black Series, and then got the shop, and I started obviously buying the vintage figures again for the shop, and it just filled me with that passion again. So I started getting the figures again, and I thought, I'm going to get a full run. So I almost got a full run. I think I was about four away from a full run for the really expensive ones. But things have happened. We've split up. Things have gone the way they shouldn't have done, basically. And these, for the past 2 years, have been my crutch. I know people say, don't use them as a crutch, don't use your toys as a crutch, but they were. There's nothing wrong with that. I put that cabinet by the side of my bedroom, so every night when I walk past I can see that, and I smile, and I think, yeah, takes you back to a good time when you could play with your figures. You can still play with them. I don't play with them, I just look at them. I adore them, basically, and they're just there. If I could probably sell anything in this flat, apart from my signed Princess Leia, signed Carrie Fisher figure, Black Series figure. I don't want to sell me. I want to get the full. This time, I am going to get the full run. So that's basically it. Just collect the way you want. Don't be swayed by anybody. Collect the Black Series, collect the vintage collection, if you like. But for me, it is the vintage, and that's what makes me happy. Collect what makes you happy.
My second question is, where do you think are the best places to look for vintage figures?
The best places to look for vintage? That's a good question. I think a lot of people will go to eBay as a primary. It's okay. It's okay. Just got to be careful. There's a lot of scammers. You have Craigslist. We have Gumtree. I don't use those anymore. Especially what's going on anyway. I don't want to go and meet somebody. But yeah, there's a lot of scammers on there. So eBay's okay. eBay's, you're protected. Gumtree, you're not. You're on your own with Gumtree. So I wouldn't choose Gumtree. Obviously, Facebook groups are probably the best place. Join a good Facebook group, Echo Base. I think there's a US version of Echo Base. There's other groups. I'll probably give you a list of the ones to join. There's a lot in the UK. I'm not so sure about the US, but I'll give you a list of the UK ones, and I'm sure they will do shipping to the US. But if they don't, if you see something, just ask me, and I'll get it for you, and I'll ship it over myself. And that's what we do as collectors. We help each other. That's what we do. But yeah, if there wasn't this thing going on in the world, and it's getting worse again, toy fairs. There's something called Echo Live that we have in the UK, which is, or was, twice a year. It's run by the Echo Base. The guys over there are really good. They do a lot for charity, and they have this bi-yearly toy fair, which is just Star Wars. All it is just Star Wars. Now there's one in Fordingbridge as well, which I've never been to, so I can't really talk about that, but I've heard it's really good. Not as big as Echo Live, but I'm sure there's plenty of, just look it up in your I don't know, in your magazines. I don't know what magazines you have in the US. I've got the Collector's Gazette here, which I'll show you. This is our UK magazine, which it gives you all the toy fairs, the auctions. Auctions are a good place as well. Try the auctions, things like that. I don't know if there's an equivalent type of magazine in the US, but something like that is always good. Always good. So yeah, auction houses, try those. YouTube, there's plenty of auction people on YouTube selling things. Look, just search for that on YouTube. Auction. Antique stores, obviously. I said join the groups on Facebook. There's a lot of selling on Facebook as well. A lot of auction groups on Facebook, things like that. Plenty of places. I mean, you can start off with eBay. I suppose that's probably one of the best places. You can get a bargain on there, but buy job lots. If you're just starting out, get a job lot. Make a list. Make a list of what you want. You can start with a focus, just one figure, because I could go into variants, because like the Look Bespin, the Leia Bespin, there's just hundreds of variants of that. You wouldn't believe it. I've done videos on it and you just wouldn't believe it. But yeah, try eBay, Facebook. That's about it really. What's your next question?
My third question is, how do you know what a figure is worth and how to spot a good deal? Because I watch you guys and the Holo Chronicles, and you look at a figure and you can tell what it's worth, a ballpark what it's worth. depending on the variation, all that stuff. I know some of it is just spending time in the collecting world and researching that kind of stuff, but how can a casual collector learn to understand what a good deal is?
How do I value? Now that's a pretty good question. Now, as you know, I'm a toy valuer. I was a toy expert, but I'd hate using that. Toy valuer. I work for auction houses and places like that. I've done job lots of Star Wars toys and just sold people's collections for them. And it's a laborious task actually, and trying to find the right weapons and things like that. Yeah, it's good though. I love it. I love doing it. But it's trying to spot a good deal. It's knowing what you want to buy. Before you start out, just go research. Find out about the product you want. Even if it's not vintage, I would say this about any product. Even if it's not toys, anything you want to collect, know about that. Have a passion for it. Don't think halfway through, oh, I don't like them. Find out what you like and then collect it. Read up about it. That's the best way of doing it. Yeah, so valuations. It's quite difficult actually. I have the tracker app, the Star Wars tracker app, which I use, which gives you the up-to-date, because the last year the prices have shot up. The prices have really shot up, and this year I think they're just going to carry on. They've leveled out a bit, but I think they'll carry on, and I don't think they're going to stop anytime soon. To be perfectly honest, those prices are going to go up and up. Not to say that you can't find a deal. Always, the main things are, and I'll tell you at the end of this, patience. I'll tell you the rules. I hate saying rules because they're not rules. The guidelines, more or less, to help you collecting. Know your product. Research. Be patient and don't spend too much. Those are the rules. I've said it again. Not rules. Guidelines. Nobody's got rules. Nobody should tell you what to collect, or really how to collect, which is what I'm doing. I know. Anyway. If I get a job lot, if I see a job lot on eBay now, because I don't do as much work as I used to do, but back then I get a box, or if I see a box on eBay, I always look out for the red bar R5. There's the variants I look out for. Red bar R5, the holotubes, Sand People, and the IG-88. There's the matte, and there's two different silvers to the IG-8. Those are the kind of things that I look for. And I don't know if I want to go into a story, but I will do. I'll do a Ronnie Corbett and I'll go into a story. When I first started down at Hanson's, I looked at this box of job lot of figures. I'd already seen a Palitoy Death Star, which I wanted back then. I've got one now, but I wanted back then, and it was boxed, everything like that. So I said, "Can I look at it?" So got it out, opened it all up, and there was a die-cast TIE Fighter in it, and that's Land Speeder, Luke's Land Speeder, I think, die-cast. I thought, what they're doing in there? They shouldn't be in there, but they should know that. That's probably why they got me on. But they're missing the X-wing guns that you come to, X-wing guns that come with it. So I saw this job lot, and it was just a tub of figures, and I saw the two X-wing guns, and I says, are those two from the same people? Oh, don't know, blah blah. I says, they are, because they should be in there and they should be in there, and blah blah blah. I was looking through, and I saw the R2D2, and it was a darker blue R2D2, which comes from the early bird kit. You know the sticker on the top. If it's a deeper blue, it is from the early bird kit. So I thought, that's a bit strange, so I got it out. So I thought, well, let's look for the other figures. So I pulled the Luke out, the Leia. It wasn't a double telescope in Luke, unfortunately. And I got the Chewbacca. I thought there must be the early bird kit. So I thought there was 2 Chewbaccas in that box. I know I'm going on a bit, but there was 2 Chewbaccas in that box, and one of them was the luminous green bowcaster that comes with the early bird. So those were the early bird, and those should have been separated from the rest and sold as an early bird, because they would have made a fortune. Now it was too late to do it by then, but so they'd missed out on quite a lot of money. So it's just knowing. And he said to me, "How do you know that?" I says, "Well, just know. You know, I've learned over the years. I've been collecting over 40 years, playing and collecting, and he just learned these things. There's always something to learn about Star Wars figures. Vintage Star Wars is the best thing to collect, simply because you learn something new every day. You cannot know everything. I want to know about the card backs. I want to learn about all the card backs, A, B, C, D. I don't know about that. I can read up. I've got a book down here, but it's not up to date. Now there's a book coming out from Read 5 Designs, which I've ordered 5 of, and and they will show you tell you about all the card backs, all the variants and everything. Information is going to be in that book, and I'm going to read that book from cover to cover, and it's all going to go in there. Now, that you could go to websites and things like that, but I believe books. So there you go. That's the long answer to that question. Next.
My 4th question would be, what do you think are some of the best resources for people that might need help starting a collection? This could be a website, books, social media groups. I know there are a lot of good books that can help you, but I'm wondering, as someone who has collected vintage for a while, what your tips, what you use as resources are.
Yeah, that's quite kind of following off from the last question, isn't it? Books. Just get a cheap book. This probably cost me £5 about 5 years ago. It's from 2005, but it's something cheap, just a cheap book like this off eBay, and this served me really well. When I was in the shop, when I got back into buying and collecting vintage, this was a godsend. This was really. I read this from cover. You can tell it's this not just vintage. There's all sorts. It's all up to 2005, so it's really good. There's all a 12-inch and everything in there. Episode 1, but it's not very. It's pretty basic. It does tell you a bit about things, about the card backs and things like that. All the different card backs, but it's not up to date again. Like I say, like I've got the Kellerman. Just buy a book. Buy a book. It's got all the lows in. It's got all the card backs. It's got all the variants in. Not all the variants, because there's too many to list. But this Read 5 book will have in that I'm going to get. Just buy a cheap book. Websites are good, well and good. Websites are well and good, but you don't know what the information is going to be like. If it's up to date, if it's accurate. But I mean, that's probably not totally 100% accurate, but it's there. It's good. It's brilliant. The prices are 2005 prices, and they're nowhere near. I mean, look at that. Yak faces. No chance. I mean, 10 times that now. And that's just in what? In 16 year? 15, 16 year? Something like that is just something you need to do. You can go to websites. There's lots of websites. Imperial Gunnery is a good one if you want to find out about the weapons. There's just plenty. Again, groups. Facebook groups. Our kind of groups. Our groups on Twitter. Just get as many friends as you can that collector friends. And if you're not sure, you can text them, you can WhatsApp, you can email them, say, I'm not so sure about this, can you have a look at it for me? I do that myself. There's the Toy Tony. I don't know if you know about the Toy Tony scandal, and that is something that I know quite a bit about. But there's certain card backs that I don't know about. There's certain card backs that are Toy Tonys. They're usually easier to spot, but a lot of people like them. But I won't go into that story. That's another story for another day. Again, it's reading books. I like books better than websites because I think once you've read something, it goes in your head more. Whereas if it's like, if you are using Google, you've got that to hand all the time, and it's not going to go into your head because you're going to think, oh, well, I can look at that again. It's not going to sink in because you can go back and look at it whenever you want. Whereas reading a book, you're actually physically reading it, and I know you're reading off a website, but I think it's just totally different. But again, that's just something that my crockpot theories. But I think it's true. I think you need to read a book. Read books, kids. Stay in school, read books. Yeah, I'm just looking down here at my resources. Not just Star Wars, obviously, because I do other toys as well. I've got toy books, die-cast car books. Oh, you won't believe the kind of books that I've got down here. And down there, I've done a video on showing all the books I've got. A lot of Steve Sansweet, funnily enough. But the guidebooks, the Kellerman, is probably something to not go near because it's like £250, £300, and it's not that good as a resource. I use, tell you what I do use when I do my figure videos, is I believe is a good resource. You might be able to get it for like $10, $20. See, stands to it again. The Action Figure Archive. I do believe that's a really good book too. I mean, anybody in the comments, please leave any ideas as to what resources that you use. Again, it's not. It's a bit more than this other book. It tells you all the card backs and everything like that, and the figures, and tells you what cards they were on and things like that. It's a really good book. That's what I do use, like I say. That was more for my collecting. Back when I was getting back into it and remembering all the figures again. I still get stuck with the Ewoks sometimes. Romba and Chibo and Luma and Papaloo. You're trying to remember which is which. It's like skiff guards. I sometimes get. I once bought 2 skiff guards, and I think they're both. I don't know the plateau. It might be Weekway. I think I got Weekway twice because I was thinking it was a different one. But then yeah, that's what I mean. You always make mistakes. Don't worry about it. You can always sell it on to another collector. Get the books. Figure out what you want to collect. You don't have to collect all of them.
And then my 5th question is, and I know this can be a wide range, but if you had to estimate the cost of collecting incomplete loose figures, complete loose figures, and complete figures on their card backs, those different tiers, just so people might be able to understand the cost of collecting those, because I know some people, you know, you don't have unlimited finances, and I definitely don't myself, so I'm going to be, looking at what I can get. I'm definitely not going to be able to get some of those complete figures and stuff like that, so just ballpark those 3 tiers.
It's going to take a while. Well, I'll just get, like you said, ballpark figure. Cost of incomplete is very, very cheap. Very cheap. You can get a couple of £. You can get figures for a couple of £, a couple of dollars. Depends what condition they are as well. If you're not bothered about condition, if you just want to have the figure, just say you got the figure, and you don't want the weapons or the accessories, anything like that, that is going to be quite cheap. Very cheap, in fact. The first 12 aren't going to be that much, really. Your Luke and your Leia probably be the most of the first 12. Your Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, if you want them lowest and complete, are going to be really cheap. It's getting on to the last 17. Even the figures are quite expensive, but you'll find out the accessories are what you pay for. So buy complete. If you want the complete, buy complete. If you want them incomplete, if you just want the figure, fair enough, you're going to find it very easy. As a figure for incomplete, that's quite difficult to actually think about. But I'm going to say you might be able to get them for £500. 500 maybe, if you're lucky. As I'm saying pound, round it with dollars, same price. As I said, the last 17 are going to be the difficult ones because it's the figures that you're buying from, as well as the accessories. The accessories are a lot, especially with the pop-up lightsaber R2. Your pop-up lightsaber is £150 by itself, and your figure's probably about £100. Hand carbonite. Your carbonite blocks nearly as much as your hand figure. But there you go. You're going to be lucky. I mean, if you just want to buy a job lot to start off with, that would be brilliant. And if you've got a job lot, they mostly come incomplete anyway. You might get a couple of blasters and things like that. But to buy complete, again, it's going to be, especially if you want it totally complete, which I'm trying to do at the moment. I have got up to most of the Return of the Jedi complete. I need a few bits. I need a Yoda cane, which it's going to cost like £25-30, if not more. But I'm not prepared to pay that. That's why I haven't got. I could go out and get it if I wanted it. But for me, collecting is getting it for as cheap as I can. And that's not me. I'm not cheap. Well, I'm from Yorkshire, so maybe. The thrill of the chase for me collecting. Thrill of the chase. As you see, 4 times I've been trying to collect it. But I want to get it as cheap as I can. I can wait. Be patient, that's what I'm saying. Be patient. Like you said. Might take years to collect. It might take me another 20 years if I'm still alive to finish that run. I need 11 of the last 17. I know that's around about £2,000 just for the last 11. But I'm not going to... I might do it over, like I say, even if I'm paying like £100 a year for the next 20 years. Or 11 years if you've got the 11. So say the next 10 years I pay £110. I'll have probably collected them all. But there's other things to buy in between that, you know. You can stop eating if you want, but no, I wouldn't suggest that. There's other things, the Black Series and this vintage collection. There's hot toys. There's the play sets. There's the vehicles. There's the retro collection. There's all these other things coming out. But if I just concentrated on the figures, which I should do, I should be able to do it carefully and patiently in 10 years' time. I know it sounds a long time, but considering I've been collecting 40 years, it's not too bad. But I want to do it before I die. That's my bucket list. I want to get every figure before I die. Sorry for you young kids. Yeah, well. So complete. I think Andy Aller Chronicles asked us on the Paliboys. He did have a mostly complete run. And he asked us all how much we thought the value was. The value and what somebody paid for it is totally different. You can get 2 people. Say 2 people want this Wampa. 2 people want a Wampa really bad. They've got a lot of money. They don't care how much they pay for it. That can go for thousands. But on another day, it can go for 10p. It's just a matter of how much people want to pay for it. But a lot of people want to pay a lot of money for Star Wars. That's why it's expensive. And so going back to what Andy was asking us, we all said something, and I said I was going to say 3,700, but I went for 3,000. I rounded it up. I said 3,500, and then I also went for 3,600. So it depends really if you want to pay. It depends on condition. That is the main thing. If you're not bothered about condition, you could probably get them for about 2,500, 3,000. But if you're bothered about condition, it's 3,500, 4,000, if not more. Depends how the seller is feeling on that day. And carded figures, I'm not going to even bother, because carded figures, again, it's due to condition and what licenses it is. If you wanted a palitoy, you're paying a lot more than a Kenner, due to the short. We didn't make as many palitoy as they did Kenner, and I prefer the palitoy logo anyway, but that's being okay. Yeah, a full carded run. There was, if you ever watched the Toy Hunter, this was a few years ago, and I think it was 25,000 it charged. Was it 25,000 he charged for the first 12? Because they're all mint and all that, and he got them all graded and everything like that. Yeah, that's another thing, grading. If they're all graded, you're paying a lot more. But again, it's down to condition. You can get a return of the Jedi card very easily, under maybe £30, under £50 definitely. But even those are going up now. Best time to collect was 20 years ago, or originally when they were £1.59. But yeah, I think carded figures, if you've got a lot of money, collect them. But if you've not, if you've got a budget, stick to the loose. Get a job lot. Go out there. I know you can't go out there, but when you can, go out there and just hunt for them. That is the best thing. For me, we used to go out shopping. We used to go to antique places, and to find somewhere that had vintage Star Wars, we're like, oh! But I had the eye. I could sense. I go into a place, I'd sense where the Star Wars was. I knew I could spot it a mile off, and that is getting that eye and getting the haggling skills and getting them down. I'm not panicking and thinking Star Wars, buy them all. Just be patient. That's the main thing. So there you go. Carded figures, I won't want to put a price on those, because you're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands. So what's your next question?
Just any extra tips that you have for people who might want to start their collection. I understand that this may take some time. It may take years to finish collections, but I'm excited to jump into vintage.
Tips, right. Don't do it. No, do it, because if you love it, you'll love it. Buy a few. If it's your thing, carry on. If you're not enjoying it, stop. You've got to enjoy it. For me, it's nostalgia. It's those figures. Like, I didn't have an AT-AT, but I know it's vintage Star Wars, so I want it. The Darth Vader Star Destroyer, I never had that as a kid. I would never have been able to have that. It was the figures for me, and that's what I'm collecting. But I'm getting everything as well. Trying to get as many playsets, vehicles, things like that. It's like the speeder bikes. They were £5. I got 2 of those as a kid, and I love them. I've got 2 of them now. But it's the figures. So, 1, research. Buy a book. Know if you like it. Look out for figures. Go on eBay. Buy a job lot. 2, just enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. It's It's a hobby at the end of the day. People get into arguments over it. It's just collecting a toy. Collect how you want. Collect what makes you happy. That is from my heart. If it makes you happy, collect it. If it doesn't make you happy, if it's making you stressful, if you're getting into arguments about it, stop. 3, do not spend up. Do not break the bank. Do not. It's not worth it. And that leads on to 4, being patient. Be very, very patient. Look at me, 40 years. I still haven't done a full run. I'm close. I'm going to do it. But again, like I said earlier, it's going to take me 10 years maybe to do it. I might get lucky. I might win the lottery and be able to buy them all. But even if I had billions and billions and billions of dollars or whatever, pounds, dollars, I would not buy a rocket firing Boba Fett. I wouldn't. Simply because it's a 4-inch piece of plastic and they're going for £200,000, close to. They'll go up to $1 million someday, and because there's only like 20, 30 left in the world. But I got a Empire Strikes Back Palatoy carded Boba Fett, and I had it in the flat for 2 days because I daren't go out. I went out once and I was panicking that what if it burns down? What if somebody breaks in and I couldn't handle the pressure, so I sold it. I got a good deal anyway, so I sold it. But I'd love to have it back. It was brilliant. I would love to have it back, but there's a lot of carded figures I want to have back. All the Palatoy ones I've sold and the Meccano ones. But just be careful. Just don't get into arguments over it. It's a toy. End of the day. Don't let it ruin your life. Don't spend all your money on it. Feed yourself first. Don't break the bank. Don't get your bank manager on the phone. Why are you buying more Star Wars toys? If you can afford it, do it. Yeah, but I'm saying don't break your bank. Don't get the credit card out. Don't, just because you want something. Just be patient. You'll find it a week later, or maybe 10 years later, cheaper. I'm telling you, because they're made millions of Star Wars figures. There will always be another one. Always. Even the rocket firing Boba Fett, like I said, there's 20, 30 of them. There are there. So you can still buy them if you've got the money. But you can buy them cheaper. You can always buy them cheaper. Research. Enjoy yourself. Don't spend too much. And just be good. Be good to your fellow collectors. If you see something they want, get to know fellow collectors, and if know what they want. If they've got a focus, say Luke Bespin, you see one, let them know, get it for them. They'll return the favour. Simple as that. We all help each other in this community, and we all love each other. And there's just certain few that take it too far, but that's up to them. Collect the way you want to collect. Simple as that. Thank you, Brandon. Been really good to have you on the video today. And if anybody else out there wants to ask me questions like this, it's been brilliant. Thank you so much, Brandon. I'll see you very shortly. May the choice be with you.
May the force be with you, and yum num.